So, this is the best work and evaluation of my work this year. Um, I've, just, I've gone with a style where I mix the best work into the slides. From the start of the module to now, how have I developed my drawing skills and understanding of character development? Well, at the beginning of this course, I had some drawing knowledge, but it was severely limited. I knew how to draw just one style, and that was anime, like a Japanesey cartoony style. And I had no clue about vocabulary. I knew that the process of character development existed, but I had no idea how in depth it actually was. That changed this year, however, with this module, and I feel my drawing skills have improved dramatically, as I can now somewhat draw semi-realistic features of the human body, as you can see on screen, with the eyes, lips, and nose. And I think this stems from having a new sense of techniques that I use for this style, such as mark making and value shading. As for character development, I feel as if I know a lot more than I did before. Because as I said, I barely knew anything about character development. But through self-research for this module, as I'll get onto in a minute, alongside the work we did in class, I quickly picked up that the development for a character is much more complex than I originally thought. Making sure the character conveys the emotion and persona that you want is much more than facial expressions. It's the way that they stand, the shapes used, and facial expressions. And by shapes used, I mean squares to convey strength, triangles to convey a thrill seeker or an evil person, circles to convey friendliness. How have I used research to better understand this module? Well, I struggled to grasp the character development at first, but I found official artwork and character development from popular games like Metal Gear Solid 2, as you can see on screen. It shed new light on the entire process that big video game companies use to design and develop a character. In the case of Metal Gear Solid, they actually researched actual soldiers' postures and uniforms and the way they act on their shifts for security, just to get a general grasp of what their characters should be like, even their NPCs. As for attitude and persona, they went through multiple mood boards, brainstorms, and discussions about what each character should be like before finalizing it. I didn't realize how complicated it was in the industry to create a believable and memorable character such as Snake from the Metal Gear Solid franchise, but it is very complicated. In other aspects of the research, I researched the history of stop motion to fully understand the story behind the style, and was surprised to see how old the style is, dating back to the 1800s. And actually, researching the stop motion helped me with mine, because the original stop motions were technically zoetropes, which were pictures in a wheel that you spun and it would create like a small animation. I found those really cool, and I'm probably going to try and create one over the summer holidays. However, where do I feel I have mostly developed my skills throughout the module? Well, I feel my skills with drawing realistic aspects of character have drastically improved. If I was told before this module to draw a portrait, it would have looked terrible, like a 5-year-old had drawn it. But I was proud of my portrait drawing, which is on the next slide. I was also proud. I had previous experience drawing arms and legs because the style difference between realism and anime with arms and legs isn't that different for the line work. I still think that I could do with some improvements though, which I will note later. I've also improved my general knowledge of multiple subjects, those being character development and the history behind art forms. This module has also improved my researching in other aspects, including my personal life and other modules on the course. Uh, my thoughts and analysis of my final character and walk cycles. Well, to be truthful, I did not create a character for this module. I reused a character from another module where I needed a story. I created a character by the name of Hazel Walker, a young woman who lived in the 80s. The backstory of the game had Hazel suffer from the tragic loss of her girlfriend, where she blamed herself for the accident, therefore having to battle through her emotions throughout the game, with the win state being acceptance. The portrait, this module helped with designing her as a character, and with the portrait drawing I did, as you can see on screen, being that of Hazel Walker before anything went wrong, and sadly I didn't carry this idea forward. I felt as if I would have done the processing correctly and made the whole thing seem insensitive, and I just didn't want to do that. So to make up for it, I did my character turnaround sheet on Sonic the Hedgehog, as I felt it suited my style of drawing, being simplistic, a little complicated and cartoony. As for my walk cycles, I'm proud of the Sonic the Hedgehog walk cycle, as you'll see in my portfolio, but I felt the hand-drawn was lackluster. I could have put a lot more detail into the final product instead of it just being a circle with legs. I could have used the techniques that we used throughout this module to create a fully fleshed out human walk cycle, because we learned about the body proportions, we learned about how face structures created, and I could have put a lot more effort into it. And where would I further like to improve my skills? Well, me as a person, I actually want to permanently improve, although sometimes it doesn't seem that way. Even if others say my work is great, I want to go higher, so I really think that I could improve all of my skills in all areas of this module. However, if I had to pick a couple, I really feel as if my realism skills could be drastically improved on by learning just about detailing the drawings with different shading types and stuff like that to make muscles seem more muscle-like and more realistic. I can improve my value shading for depth in any given drawing. So shadows under a neck, I could really improve on that. I can always improve my researching skills. That will help across all modules. And my goal for next year is less procrastination, less being a distraction and more focus on my work. I think that's where I really went wrong this year, was my disregard and procrastination towards work. But over summer, I will be practicing the skills from every module that was this year as a challenge to myself. For this module, my goal is to successfully create a character development sheet, including turnarounds, multiple poses for a character, and a fleshed out backstory. The main thing about it linking to this module is the body proportions, the turnaround sheets, how a character should be stanced in different situations, and apart from that, these, as you've seen on screen, were my personal favourite pieces of the project. The one that you can see on screen right now was a self-portrait. I used a picture of myself in a mirror and just rolled with it. Then you've got the Sonic turnaround sheet. I was very proud of that. I got all the correct proportions of Sonic the Hedgehog and the Hazel Walker portrait. I was very proud of this, especially with the hair. The legs drawings, I've always been proud of drawing legs because I can always get the lines perfectly, and I don't know why. But my favourite piece of work that I did this year was easily the facial features piece of work. I spent a good portion of a day working on making sure that these looked good.